Now, after Iran singled out Pakistan on terror, now it's Afghanistan that is protesting against Islamabad's role in the Taliban peace talks. In a strongly worded letter accessed by WION World is One, Afghanistan has said that Pakistan's involvement in the talks violated Afghanistan's sovereignty. On your screens now is the letter addressed to the United Nations Security Council by Afghanistan's permanent mission in New York. Kabul has accused Islamabad of undermining President Ashraf Ghani-led Afghan government by initiating contact with the Taliban. Afghanistan complained to the United Nations Security Council that top Pakistani leaders, including Prime Minister Imran Khan, had invited the Taliban for a meeting. Kabul also made it clear that Islamabad has not sought any consultations with the Afghan government in its talks with the terror group. Afghanistan has made it clear that by engaging with the Taliban, Pakistan was recognizing the terror group as a legitimate authority. In the letter, which was submitted just a day after 40 Indian security personnel were killed in the Pulwama suicide attack, Afghanistan slammed Pakistan for providing a safe haven to terror groups. It said that Islamabad must take action against terror groups which carry out attacks in Afghanistan and other South Asian nations. Earlier, Iran had warned Pakistan against harboring terror groups after a suicide bombing along the Iran-Pakistan border killed 27 of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards. We have Glenn Carl, American author and former intelligence officer, now joining us live from Boston in the US. Glenn, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on WION World as well. Help us understand this now. We're again talking about the global isolation of Pakistan, but it's getting more real because you're seeing all of its neighbors, any country that Pakistan shares a border with, asking the world to take action on Pakistan because it is not eradicating terror from its soil.
Well, these are useful steps. Pressure might have some effect, but I'm frankly a pessimist in the larger scheme of things about the deep effect that will have on Pakistan's policies towards Jaish Mohammed and Kashmir. So long as China provides $50 billion and diplomatic protection and strong relations, then Pakistan isn't too isolated, unfortunately, in this instance. But pressure are the right things to do. One can't accept terrorism as a tool of policy.
But Glenn, the reason why we're having this conversation is that we've seen a Uri happen. The Uri attack resulted in a retaliatory attack, the surgical strike from India. But this time around, it's a national highway in India that's been attacked. And it was very clear that from the explosives that were used, RDX, to many of the reasons that it came from across the border. And this time around, it's 40. It's the worst terror attack on India's security forces in many years. Everybody has taken note. The UK has taken note. The US has taken note. And now, from the grey list in the Financial Action Task Force, where Pakistan finds itself in, now the demand is for a blacklisting of Pakistan. That's the reason why I'm asking, is the isolation, could it be more real this time around?
Well, I think the pressure is greater than it's been. One of the few rational positions that the Trump administration has taken is to turn the pressure up on Pakistan because of its support for terrorism and its lack of support for peace efforts in Afghanistan in particular, and in Kashmir also. So these things will have some effect. The history of the success of sanctions in changing policies of the targets of the sanctions is a weak one. Unfortunately, there are several instances when sanctions and pressure has affected things. Most recently, historically, with the Iran nuclear accord, it seems that the international sanctions did have some effect. So I'm not arguing against them. I think that these are steps that one should take. I just am, I hope not a cynic, but not too optimistic that Pakistan will change its policies. It's a terrible situation for India to be in.
Absolutely. It is. And that is the reason why I think India will also have exhausted all its patience with this Pulwama terror attack. Look at what's going on in terms of the discourse in the country. People are asking for retaliation and etc., etc. But we all understand that it doesn't work that way. It's far more complex than what it seems like, despite the fact that 40 lives of our security forces have been lost, and that is black and white. Those men are not coming back. But this is a good time then for, if not for global fora, for countries and their individual relationship with Pakistan, especially the most powerful countries in the world, be it the US or the UK, to change. Because it is because of support from such powers that Pakistan has continued with its policy for so many decades.
Well, that's absolutely right. No one has found a solution to this dilemma. From the United States perspective, we've long realized that Pakistan, with one hand, has been actually working with the Taliban, supporting Al-Qaeda, working with Jaish Mohammed, creating Jaish Mohammed, et cetera, et cetera. And so we try to oppose that. But on the other hand, without Pakistan, U.S. efforts in Afghanistan would have been almost impossible. Similarly, India has been presented with a hideous casus belli. It's clearly a casus belli what's just happened. But a war would create worse problems than it would solve. So India's in a bind too. What does one do then? I think the measures that you have touched upon, which are increasingly severe sanctions, and Pakistan almost being a failed state, creates other problems too, because too much pressure could make matters even worse. So there are no happy solutions, but I think the least bad ways forward are to increase pressure, as you suggest, yes.
Glenn Carl joining us live from Boston. No happy solutions to the problems on hand. Glenn Carl, thank you so much for joining us here on WION World is One.